Well, at least pictures there. Hi, everybody. Paul from Carvale, Fishing Bandits. Right, hope you all had a lovely weekend fishing and caught lots. Right, this is an update for my weekend. Due to my very poor performances these last few weeks, I've been leaving my camera at home because it's never nice when you're filming nothing. Right, so let's get into it. Right, Saturday the 18th, I was at Barbara Spring Ponds. Fantastic day out. Got there, pulled up. All the time I'm saying to Steve, peg 30, peg 30, peg 30, 29.30, 29.30. Steve reaches in his bag, pulls out 30. Yes! I love them pegs. I actually used to do a bit of coaching using those two pegs because they are so prolific for carp coming in and feeding. I had a fantastic bacon and egg sandwich yet again, made by Steve's lovely mum, and went down to the pond, took my gear to set up. When I was setting up, I noticed that the wind was basically coming down the caravan bank and curling round. The wind coming from the strip in the island coming down, that was blowing into me. And the wind coming from the wood bank was blowing round the corner. When we were setting up and we were talking, we noticed that there was no signs of any fish in that area this morning. No topping, no cruising. I think we saw one fish top. Anyway, we get to it and I ships out to the far bank where the concrete plinth for the bridges. Normally, carp there straight away. Didn't put no feed in, just sat there with my hard pellet and dropped it down slowly. Swung the rig in and it sat there. Nothing happened. Lifted. Nothing. Lifted again. Laid it in. Nothing. Did a bit of tapping. Nothing. Shipped in, put a pole cup on the end of it, a pot, put some micros in, ship back out. Tip the micros in, lay the rig in. Nothing. So it's like, okay. So I then went dobbing around the far bank. As far as what I considered the lads' peg on the island, and there was no sign of anything, which was strange. I never got a liner, I never got a bump, nothing. So I thought, okay. Pulled back in, and I noticed that there was like an oily film on the top of the water, and I noticed it was when I dropped my rig in to ship out, it was kind of sticking to the float and stuff. So I came back in and I fed a pot of ground bait for what would be my paste side. I potted a cup of ground bait against the front peg of the empty peg, and I potted a emp and worm down in my right side. Fantastic corner, that is usually. So I start with the pace line, and I'm thinking, our float's not sitting right. Because what I do, if that's the bank, I'll put the paste out there, but I'll hold the float here so it swings in. Now I know it goes pretty quick with paste, but that movement as it's swinging in leaves a trail of particles. And I thought, the float's sitting funny. Normally I have it dotted somewhere there. On Saturday, it was sitting like that. And I'm thinking, right, I might be a bit over depth, but that normally don't bother because I'm keeping a tight line from my float top to my pole. I lifted it up and it came back down like that again. And I'm thinking, that's not right. There's something not right. So, lifted up, took the paste off, thought, right, let's see what we can do. I put a big lump of worm on and nothing at all. Sorry guys, I'm just watching someone knocking on my friend's door across the road and they've just gone out. Curtain twitching. Right, yeah, so basically what I'm saying is there was that much debris in the water that it wasn't quite sitting right. And the amount of times I got a bite and I struck and I came back with pieces of bloody grass and twigs and you know what I mean? It was just nightmare. So I tried in my right margin. Yeah, righto. I may as well just fished on bank. No disrespect to Steve and not slating Barbara Ponds at all. It's just one of them days when all the wind was right that drove it into my peg. I wanted that peg. I loved that peg. I wanted it. It just didn't work. And I was getting more and more and more frustrated because I've had poor results in the last few weeks that on that peg I know I can do really, really well. It didn't work that way, and to be honest, I had one small carp on paste and then a succession of, are you ready for this, guys? 5 on the trot, takes on paste, elastic comes out of my pole, I ship out with more pole, the fish bumps off. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, but 5. So I proper spat my dummy out. I'm sorry, Steve. I just spat my dummy out with myself because I just didn't know what to do next. I noticed that Steve to my right was catching, but his was slow. And I think it's Steve. We've got lots of Simons and Steves and Chris's, I think, on Barbara. He sat in the other corner and he was struggling, really struggling, but he was catching the odd fish. could have handled that. I could have understood that. But I just saw my ass. I knew I wasn't in the right frame of mind by this stage, and because I didn't want to upset me, I decided enough were enough, and I wrapped up. I put my one cart carefully back. I put the nets out to dry, started carrying my gear up, and Steve's mum, bless her, came out in the rain to open the gate for me. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Steve, Rachel, nothing against yous, darling. Fantastic fishery. Can't hope for better. It was just me. My head wasn't right on the day. Let's rephrase that. My head wasn't right and isn't right for the last few weeks. So my Barbara match resulted in DNW, did not weigh. I was absent without leave. Still, these are the days that try us. These are the days that test us. And these are the days that can be either very rewarding or very frustrating. And it was just one of them frustrating days. But we'll be back. We'll start again. I come to a realization this weekend, which I'll get to in the later stages of this video, because come Sunday, we were at Aston Ponds, Aston Fisheries. We was on Split Lake. It was a club match by Hasland Angling Club. They're so great. I'm so grateful to them to allow me to fish their matches as a guest. Hopefully, they'll allow me to join full time. There's not many matches left, so it will be for the new season coming up, I would imagine. So anyway, turns up at Aston Ponds, ordered a breakfast. Oh my word, gorgeous. It had black pudding on. I love black pudding. Well, I'm a Yorkshire boy, aren't I? So black pudding on bread. It's great. No, but and while I was sat down waiting for my breakfast, in walks Chris Buckley, and I had to quiz him about dropping his phone at the beginning of the match. Luckily, Chris, your phone was waterproof, so disaster averted. You're still married. You've not got divorced through losing your phone. So yeah, Chris, bless him, he was on another match on butts, I think it was. But we drew as pegs, and I drew peg 32, something like that. It was in the bottom corner, the shallow end, not the wall end, the shallow end. To be honest with you, it looked quite okay, because I'd got lily patches to both sides of me. What I also had was Bivvy City, or Tent City, across the other side of the bank. Now, the other side of the bank at this stage is what? The width of a medium-sized street from house to house. 30 metres, 35 metres. But it only had about 3.5 to 4 foot. Not bothered because it was quite warm, so I would imagine the fish were feeding. Because of the match I've got coming up, I took this opportunity to reintroduce myself to the pellet waggler. Wasn't particularly looking for bites, wasn't particularly looking for fish. All I wanted to be doing was getting into that rhythm of feed, twitch, feed, wind, cast, feed, twitch, feed, wind. In that rhythm over and over and over. Now, when I say feed, I'm only feeding 2, 3 at the most pellets because I don't want the area spread out. I want it in a channel. So it was just reintroducing myself to using the pellet waggler in a routine that I like. It didn't result in any fish. We're not surprised because the young lads across the bank had a big white spot on the end of the line, and when he cast it, I'm pretty sure he wanted to put it in my bait tray. You can imagine. Wasn't the best. So it made me wonder how much bait had them lads actually put in. Because that spod they were using, my God, it was the size of a suitcase. You could have gone away for a week with that. I took smaller to bloody Egypt for a week. Well, it's not them. It was me. And like I say, I was there mainly to get some practice with my pellet waggler again. So I did this for an hour and a half, couple of hours. Put a bomb and pellet over where I'd been feeding. Nothing. I had one line bite. Okay, that's not working. Rods away, out comes the pole. I'd already pre-baited both lily patches and a patch in front of me. The patch in front of me was a hempen ground bait. To the left, lily pad, ground bait. To the right, maggots. I didn't want to fish the one to my right. I just wanted it so as when the carp start coming in the edges, that there is a layer of bait on there to get their interest and to keep them feeding. That was the intention. It didn't happen. I struggled. All I could get, even when I were on paste in the air, against the lilies, the little fish just battered my paste so bad. I didn't know what were happening with float. It were up, it were down, it were moving, it were no proper bites. And all it was little fish like that. Well, they did it, and I got a dozen perch, small perch. I didn't know they came that small. So no, that was basically a washout. So my emp out front, my emp line, I dropped a 8mm hard pellet down on it. Nothing. Okay, come back. I dropped a 6mm hard pellet down. Nothing. Okay, don't want hard pellets. I put an expander on. Quickly did a bit of pumping. Preston pellet pump. God, you're brilliant for coming out with that. I can take it anywhere now and have my pellets already loaded. It's just a case of a suck, quick, with water, thumb over the end, pump and pump, draw it out, put your bait in the tub. Yes, sometimes I need a little bit of a squeeze to exhale the air out, but on the whole, brilliant piece of kit. So yeah, quickly bumped it up, and I'd got mixtures of 8, 6 and 4mm. So I started the routine again. 8, 6, 4. No. Drop up a foot. 8, 6, 4. No. Drop up a foot. 8, 6, 4. No. Drop up a foot. 8, 6, 4. Can't go no higher. Okay, so do the one maggot. So double maggot, double red maggot, because I know they've got a good head of silverfish, skimmers, and small roach, intrusions in there, and rudd. Nothing. Nothing, 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 nothing. I went up and down in the water, nothing. Frustrating. In frustration, I dropped on my maggot line. Can you guess what's coming? Yeah, you guessed it. Nothing. So in my head, there wasn't anything significant enough to catch in that corner. Although the gentleman to the right of me on the MPEG, he did have 20 something pound, but he was so far in the corner, it was like he were going home with it. He was that far, but all fair dues to him. He stuck at it and he got some fish. I'd done what I set out to, and I'd got back into my routine of pellet fishing. Well, pellet waggler fishing. Yes, it didn't bring us no bites, but it enabled me to work out my action of my rod as to where I want to place the float. If I come to the side and cast, does it stay there? Yes, but it's got a sway in it. I need to lay it out. Even with a pellet waggler, I need to lay it straight out, feather it as it goes out, and lay the rig out. Well, let's do it with this. I want it to lay the rig out and swing down in the pellets that I've just fired out. How it wafts down is entirely up to you. If you want to put a number 8 close to your hook to get it down quicker, it's up to you. Me personally, I do all my shotting up to my float. I have a hook length of what? 9 inches, 10 inches. And I like that with a banded 16 hook to swing gently into the water. and swims virtually natural with no weight to it, so it's more natural. And I find that when I fish it like that, I tend to get more takes on the impact of dotting it out, of laying it out, because that pellet is away from the float. I get 2 plops. Brings the fish closer to me, to my hook bait. And then when I put a couple pellets over the top, there it is. It's 3 pellets. There we go. Rod bent round. Sometimes. But again, I chose that I wasn't going any further with it. I'd not got it. I'd not drawn the peg I thought it would be. It wasn't. So no bad feelings to Aston Fisheries. I think it's brilliant. I just had a couple of bad days. It basically, as we all know, fishing is, if you're confident in what you're doing or what you're using, you will catch fish. At the moment, because I'm struggling so badly, I'm finding that I'm having to reevaluate my rigs that I've tied, my hook lengths that I've tied, the size of my hooks, my shotting pattern. I'm doing that, and I've because I've struggled so much, I've lost my confidence as to what will work. I don't know. It might need a top 10 finish or top 5 finish for me to get back that bit of confidence that I've lost. To be honest with you guys, last year I was starting to struggle, but before that I was by people's talking, I was a pretty good angler. And then I just seem to be slowly bitting. I'm up here and a bit. We've then had the lockdown. And then I've just tailed off because I've had that break as well. It may have happened earlier if the lockdown had not happened, but it did. Guys, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm hoping by some miracle I get a bit of mojo back before the Fish O qualifier next Sunday. I don't know what to say, guys. I just can't believe I've lost so much confidence. I mean, my seat box is in disarray at the moment. I've got rigs that I haven't used in 6 months, 12 months that I'm checking diameter and checking lengths of hooks, hook lengths. looking at the size of the hooks. See, I pretty much dropped down to size 12 hook and did a lot of my fishing on size 12, especially on carp venues where they know that they'll quite easily suck in that size 12 hook. You'd be surprised, even little ropes like that, 6-ounce ropes will take a size 12 hook. So I've gone through the size of my hooks. I've gone all the way from a number 12, which to me a few years ago was barbaric. It was out of question. It wasn't in my fishing vocabulary. But I got with the trend, and that's what I did. I caught well with it. I never had to question the size or the performance of my size 12 tied hooks. Hence start this badge section. I do hope it's only a little bit that I'm putting rigs together with a 22, size 22 hook. Oh my God, lads and girls, when you can't get a bite on 22 hooks, you have to question what's what. But I'll live and learn, and I'll move on from it, and that's all we can ask into it. But big up to Stephen Rachel at Barbara Spring Ponds, champion. Big up to Aston Fisheries. Fantastic. Thumbs up. On a bit of a downside, guys, due to the lockdown and the virus, I am no longer associated with Fort Angling Products. No fault of Steve's, it's just how it is. He's not in a position to support anybody at the moment, which I totally agree. So, yeah, it's back to square one and back to seeing what we can do. I feel like I'm 13 all over again. No thanks. Right, guys. See you soon, and hopefully we'll get some film footage for you. Okay, bye-bye now. Ta-da!